South Africa. I tell you what, South Africa, I find it as a really scary place. I've never been there. I'm just someone who sees what's happening from overseas. I don't understand the cultural moment that they're in, but I see things that are happening there, such as the continual rolling blackouts that they have and the, again, general degradation of their civilization. I think, wow, is that what's happening to them happening to us? Are we becoming South Africanized here? And that's kind of scary to me because it seems like South Africa is riddled with socialism, frankly. But if you want to support us, by the way, go and watch Dan and Josh's chat about the economics of the USSR, which is going to be relevant to this conversation because I would like to talk about the 10th anniversary of the Economic Freedom Fighters, which are a racial communist party in South Africa that have about 10% of the vote, which is a bit scary. But of course, they're not terribly different to the ANC, who are kind of soft racial communist party. And so I just look at their politics and think, wow, I don't want that. I really don't want that. So
such as what, Carl?
Well, such as racial redistribution of land and a continual beating of the drum that there is an oppressive class of white people who are holding down and forever holding down the black natives, who aren't actually natives, who are also immigrants in South Africa. And yet the narrative has been set. And you get people like this Julius Malema guy. Now, like I said, I'm not an expert on South African politics, so I just went to his Wikipedia page and checked him out. And he's a concerning chap. He got kicked out of the ANC, which is the ruling party of South Africa, essentially for being an insane radical who, quote, brought the party into disrepute. And so he wants to nationalize various industries in South Africa. And I've watched a few of his speeches and a few of his pledges, and they're basically, I'm going to give you free stuff. That's the thing that he is offering his constituents. And I have to racialize this because these things are racialized. He is speaking to black identitarians, and he's saying, no, we're going to take things from the white man and give it to the black man. We're just going to do that. And I mean, you could say, well, how did that work out for Zimbabwe, for example? Not great, but it doesn't matter that it didn't work in Zimbabwe. Yeah. He wants to do it in South Africa. And so he's elected to the parliament. He's got after he left the ANC, he founded the Economic Freedom Fighters in order to essentially try and usurp them. It gets something like 11 to 13% of the vote, which is not at all nothing. It's enough to get him a seat in the parliament. And in fact, they got 24 seats in the parliament, which is quite a lot as far as I'm concerned. And so the thing about the Wikipedia page, though, that I thought was interesting is the repeated allusions to violence that he makes. Racial violence, which I would say are concerning, right? I mean, in 2016 at a political rally, he said that, quote, the EFF were not calling for the slaughter of white people, at least for now. That's worrying, isn't it?
Yes, extraordinary.
Yeah. He repeated the sentiment in 2022, saying he could not guarantee I can't or won't call for the slaughter of white people at some point in the future. Right. And this guy's got 12% of the vote, does he? That's worrying. And he has said that, he's going to cut the throat of whiteness. He has been accused of stoking up racial hatred, which does seem to be the case. He tweeted a number of controversial quotes by Robert Mugabe, including, the only white man you can trust is a dead white man. And he was sued in 2011 for spreading hate speech in the form of a particular song, which we'll come to in a minute. So, I mean, I think this guy is a racist maniac. The BBC, South Africa's Julius Malema celebrates 10 years of the EFF. This guy seems to be kind of genocidal, BBC. Yeah. And he does keep saying genocidal things, but they say, despite his dismal performance in school and his divisive nature, just a divisive nature, the firebrand leader of South Africa's second largest opposition party, Julius Malema has become a symbol of success for his legion of supporters.
It's just Well, I'm sorry, but I'm not surprised with the BBC.
No, it's not surprising with the BBC, is it? It's pretty concerning.
It's just the words that they use. I see I'm seeing here on this, the outspoken.
Yes.
Controversial.
He's a bombastic firebrand.
Yeah, firebrand.
He's just mildly divisive.
Yeah.
He's not calling for the slaughter of all white people yet, but he can't guarantee that he won't do it in the future.
Yeah.
He didn't do well in school, but he's currently registered for a master's degree at a respected university, don't you know? It's all brilliant. That's great. And so he's seen as a quote. This is a quote, right? Malema is seen as something of a trendsetter.
Mm-hmm.
Is he a trendsetter? That's very interesting. Many young people do disagree with his style of politics, but they still respect him.
This is extraordinary.
I know.
But not, in the sense that it's coming from the BBC.
Shocking, but not surprising.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Racism is an entirely white thing for, I would imagine, the people who work at the BBC, if they are, anything like your average woke.
Yeah.
Basically, if you think that racism is entirely white and that it's impossible for other ethnic groups to be racist, then you could probably write that kind of thing.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. You would see Julius Malema as a hero, some kind of hero of African freedom. There was apparently a massacre at a mine in 2012 where a series of striking miners, 40 of them were killed by South African police. And Julius Malema went down there with his party, and the party slaughtered 15 cows and brewed traditional beer to appease the ancestors in memory of these people. And it's like, okay, fine. All I'm saying is they aren't like us and you don't understand them.
Mm-hmm.
Why are they doing that? I have no idea why they're doing that. Do we do that? No, we don't do that, right? These are two different civilizations that are interceding with each other here. So anyway, let's go to his live coverage of his celebration. Now, he had 90,000 people in a stadium, a very Trumpian style rally, but with a slightly different tone.
Oh yes, I've seen this, and this is where they sing the song.
Yes, This is where he sings his favorite song. So yeah, the huge rally. Again, it is Trumpian in that it is populist politics. But of course, Trump has never ever said anything like Julius Malema has said. Let's watch the clip.
Alliance shoot to kill Yamaza, kill the poor, the farmer, kill the poor, the farmer. Brr, pa, pa, brr, pa, pa. Attention.
Well, 90,000.
Yeah. 13% of the vote. Now, a lot of people are like, well, hang on, is this something to do with critical race theory or something? Like, no, this predates critical race theory. This is an old song from the 90s under apartheid that was used by revolutionaries to boost their spirits. And there's a lot of defense of this. Now, this used to be hate speech, that song. Sorry, let's go back. It used to be hate speech, but not anymore. It was declared hate speech in 2010, sorry. He was convicted of hate speech. The song was declared illegal. But for some reason in 2022, it was made legal again. So, victory for free speech there. This Shoot the Boa song does not constitute hate speech. I mean, I just feel really concerned that was the thing that one of the trendy parties in South Africa was just singing in a stadium. I mean, I would consider that concerning, but what do I know? There are lots of people who have got lots of defenses of this, though. Oh, well, what does kill the boa mean? What does it mean? What do you think it means? Peter?
Yes. I'm very literal-minded about these things.
Right.
Carl.
I didn't think that there was much depth to it, but this is apparently a liberation song. It's a song about liberation, you see. I mean, you get lots of the many lies around, quote, kill the boa. Yeah, I know. I can't believe that this was never meant to be taken literally,
What is the level of coverage of him on mainstream broadcast news?
Very little, as far as I can tell. That was the only BBC article I found on.
Yeah, and that's on their website.
Yeah, and it doesn't mention the Kill the Boa song, because why would it? But this person from South Africa said, "Oh, well, it's never meant to be taken literally. I mean, it's just a song about shooting boas who are white men, white settlers." And this song had been sung throughout the early 1990s in a language the whites did not understand, and so it did not provoke controversy. Yes, of course it didn't. You didn't know what they were saying. But he says in his comments, a video clip was played to the court, and the chap in question argued that the liberation movement's conception of Boa had always meant the enemy is a system of white supremacy. Oh, well, that's reassuring, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just a system of white supremacy, so shoot the system of white supremacy. Right, okay, gotcha. It's never meant any individual on the basis of his or her color. Even as we chanted these slogans during the armed struggle, they have never driven us to the houses of the whites or to the farmers as individuals to kill them. Oh, really? Oh, that's very reassuring. And the ANC say, quote, we have absolutely no policy to kill farmers. Absolutely none. That's very reassuring.
If you look at our own politicians here, who would even mount a defense of, say, like the white farmers? Yeah.
Well,
no.
Donald Trump.
Well, no, yeah, okay. I meant in Britain.
In Britain.
Absolutely not. It doesn't matter what's right or wrong.
If you can consider him a politician these days.
Yeah.
But he's the only one, and for some reason can't get elected to Westminster. So let's talk about farm attacks in South Africa, because there is a weird number of utterly brutal, completely barbaric, the most savage Mongol-style massacres that you will ever see. Now, this happens on a daily basis in South Africa. Apparently in 2022, there were 400 attacks on privately owned farms by whites in South Africa. This led to 55 murders. So not all attacks are, of course, successful, but all attacks are an attempt to murder people. And if you read any of the individual accounts, your stomach will turn. Literally like boiling children, like murdering, raping, just torturing for hours, because these are remote places. And so if the people who are doing these murders can get in, then that's what happens. I mean, in 2023, there have been 77 attacks in the first 90 days. So it's almost one a day. Now, I encountered many people on Twitter saying, well, there's no connection between the chap in front of 90,000 people chanting, shoot the boa, kill the farmer, and the persistent and ongoing attacks. It's just a completely parallel coincidence. Now, the left...
I thought words were violence.
Well, exactly. The left, of course, would otherwise call this stochastic terrorism.
Yeah.
And I don't believe there's no link there. And you must be a bloody fool if you do believe there's no link to that. If I were a South African, I'd be asking, why do we have to put up with this? Why do we have to put up with this? Why is this our politics? Personally, if I was in South Africa, I'd leave, but I'm not in any position to advise anyone on do anything, but I just think it's awful. If you want more information on this, go and watch Lauren Southern's Farmlands documentary, in which she speaks to some of the survivors of these things. It's just, they are just the most hideous things in the world. This is turning into a rather grim and serious podcast, Peter.
Well, no, but I mean, one thing's for sure, I'm certainly going to try and find out more about that. But I mean, because obviously it's clear I know very little about the issue.
Oh, it's just hideous.
So, it's just appalling.
Yes. South Africa is the only country that has affirmative action for the majority, weirdly. But anyway, we'll leave that there. Like I said, I'm no expert on South Africa, but from what I can see, I don't like it.
If you appreciated that segment from the podcast The Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content that's on the site, such as the Brokenomics series, this episode on the economics of the USSR. If you'd like to find out what else is being put out, you can follow on Getter at lotuseaters_com on Getter. Thank you and goodbye.